Hey Butch,
What's up?
what's your favorite type of pad?
My favorite type of pad?
Yeah. Maxi?
Yeah. Yeah, those do wonders during the day. You wouldn't know.
They're very good at stopping things.
Stopping leaks. As a disclaimer, this video is made for people who have never done anything like this before. If you have done something like this, cool. Don't comment under the video talking about how stupid it is. This is for people who have never done it before.
Yeah. So enjoy.
Alright, welcome. This is Butch with B&T's Automotive DIY. Today we're going to be showing you how to just change brakes on any old vehicle. Today we're going to be working on a Beamer, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult on this specific car than it was yours. So this is the brakes on the 01 BMW 325i that we're working on today. I'm going to go over a little bit of what's in here so you're not just amazed at what you see. This itself is what the tire gets mounted onto. His doesn't have studs. It has these weird lug nuts that are stuffed together, but normally you'll see a stud sticking out like this. This is what's called the brake caliper. This is what has the brake pads that we're changing in it today. That's what goes in here. And then you got your rotor here. You have your strut. Some vehicles will just have a strut. Some vehicles will have what's called a shock and a spring separate, but a strut is just a combination of both. And then if you want to get closer in here, you can see we have a control arm in here. This is the lateral or pivot points of the tire as it goes up and down. And then on the back side, you have, this is the sway bar that comes down. And then you have your tie rods. And this is what controls how the vehicle turns. It pulls it and moves the tire. The sway bar prevents any lateral sway in the vehicle as you're taking corners. So it just limits how much the vehicle lifts basically on each side. And the sway bar is attached to a sway bar link that runs right here that attaches to the strut, and it just keeps the vehicle tight in corners and things like that. So we're gonna get started after went over that. The brake caliper here, on the brake caliper there are 4 bolts. There's gonna be 2 caliper bolts which just mount the caliper to what's called the bracket. And then the bracket is mounted to the spindle, which goes into the back of the rotor. You don't have to take the bracket off if you're just changing your brake pads, but if you were to change your rotor, you would have to take the caliper off, or the caliper bracket off too. On this specific Beamer, it uses what's called an Allen key instead of just a regular old socket. So depending on what your vehicle has, you'll have to adjust your tools. But all you do is come back here. There are 2 bolts. There's one of them right here, and then there's a secondary one on the bottom right there. You have to take both of those out before you can take the whole caliper itself off. So I'm going to take those off real quick, and then I'll show you what it looks like after. Alright, so a lot of people get confused on which way to turn the ratchet. If you're tightening or loosening, and then people mess it up to over tighten things. The way to think about it is if you were to drive a car, whichever direction you would turn the steering wheel is the direction you would be turning the ratchet. So if it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, if you're turning to the right, tightening, flip it, turn to the left, loosening. So that's how I always think about it. I grab it and then just test it whichever way it would turn. Useful tips with Butch. There's one. And you always want to keep your hardware together so you don't lose it. So keep it somewhere uniform where it's not going to roll away or get lost. Because that would be the worst thing, to finish all of your brakes and then not have the bolt to put it back together. I'll need a second. And there's number 2. And then also on this specific vehicle, the caliper is held on with this little weird bracket thing. I don't know exactly what to call that. but you just pop it out, comes off, put it with your hardware, and then you just pick the caliper up off, and bam. Now you take your old brake pads out. So this vehicle, some vehicles don't, but a lot of the newer vehicles that are coming out on the roads today will have what's called the brake pad wear sensor that goes in your brake pads, and it's a sensor, basically does what it sounds like. It just detects when your brake pads have gone down a certain level. You just pop that off, and then pad is free. Now, before you start messing with it, always compare your old brake pads with your new brake pads just to make sure that they're right, because if you get it all off and get it all ready to go and then you don't have the right brake pads, you got to go back up to the store, blah blah blah. So
That sucks.
really sucks. We already had to do that once to get the Allens. On this specific set, some brake pads, they're all the same, and then some they have different sides. In this one there's a different side. It has this weird hook deal, and that's what goes inside the caliper piston, which I'm about to show you now. But before you can put new brake pads on, because the old brake pads are thinner, the caliper is pushed in a certain amount to sit with those brake pads. So before you can put new brake pads in, you have to push this piston down to make sure there's enough room for your new brake pads to fit with your rotor. So you can use a C-clamp, or they sell special brake tools that you can buy, but a C-clamp is simple, easy. You can just buy one at the hardware store for about $8. Another easier way that I've learned to do it is to get an old brake pad, throw it up in here, just so you don't slip inside the recess of the piston. And then you just push up against the old brake pad. It's junk anyway, so you don't need it. There we go. So, you get the old brake pad in there, start twisting it in, you'll see the piston start to disappear right here. And then once it fully locks where you can't push it in anymore, then you back out, and then you can start to put your new brake pads on. See, no more piston, good to go. So pop this loose. And now you can start with the new brake pads. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, but this is the side that I took the brake wear sensor out. So you're gonna have to put the brake wear sensor back in this specific pad. So I'll start with this one. Pop it in here. And then get the sensor, pop the sensor in. Now the sensor's in. And then take your other new pad, set it up in here. You want to align it. On this specific vehicle, there's grooves where it just pushes up, but other vehicles, they'll have slide pins that the caliper brake pads will slide across inside the caliper. This one just uses the top ridge of the caliper to slide across. Once it's backed out, set it on, push it in, and then you start putting the bolts back in it. No, I'm gonna show them how to put it all together. Now it goes in reverse on how you took it off. You just put it all back together the same exact way. That's why you keep your hardware uniform and in the same place, so you don't lose any of it as you're putting it together. Then you want to have to push against the caliper some as you're tightening the bolt in, just to make sure it's seated all the way and it'll thread. This one's kind of being stubborn. Now you don't want to over tighten it, you want to tighten it within your capability to get it back off too. But don't leave it so loose that it could vibrate loose. So it's kind of just up to you. I get it to where I can't really push it that much, but I'm not putting my full force on it because you don't want to risk snapping something also while you're tightening it.
Especially on this car.
Yeah, this is a northern car, which you can't really tell from up here, but there is a ton of rust on the body, and it makes it a lot more difficult to work on and also pick up and put down. Alright, now, since we got the caliper all seated on there, we're going to put this little bad boy back on too. You just get the bottom aligned, get you a flathead screwdriver, like so, and bend it around it. Or just use your hand. Guess that works easier. Now you have successfully changed a set of brake pads. When you finish this, you put the tire back on, set it on the ground, and before you go to drive the vehicle, you want to pump the brakes a few times to make sure that the pads have properly sat on the rotor, and then you want to give her a few good stops before you go because there'll be a glaze on the pads. Then after that, you're good to roll. Now we're going to transition into the back, which is a little bit different, and instead of having a C-clamp, it has to use a special brake tool, which I have over there, and I'll show you once we get over there. Same deal with the thing on the front, on take both sides back the caliper. Now, I was wrong earlier when I said that you needed the special tool on this one. This one you don't, but I'm going to show you how the tool works and everything like that, just in case your rear pads are this special. So this is the disc tool. This has every adapter, or I wouldn't say every adapter, but it has most adapters for most vehicles. These are normally only on the rear. Some vehicles don't have them at all. I don't really know why they put them on the rear. But the difference in the calipers is instead of the caliper like this one, where it just pushes straight in, these are designated for calipers that the piston twists in and out. So as it engages forward, it spins and then spins back. So in order to push the caliper in, you have to have something that will spin the piston. That's what all these adapters are for. Whichever piston you have on your vehicle, if you look at it, there will be nipples or some sort of recess in it, and you'll just have to match up with whichever one of this kit that you would need. Now, to get the kit going, you take this little bad boy right here, slide it across here, and push it all the way against that. And that acts as a point of contact, yeah, point of contact. So I'm just going to simulate how it would work on this. It doesn't actually work this way on this specific vehicle, but I'm going to show you how it would work. You'll hold this right here. Normally you would get a wrench to fit that piece specifically, and then you would just thread it all the way in until it reaches the piston, and then you just keep spinning and spinning just like I did with the C-clamp earlier on the front until that the piston is always all the way backed in. And then you just take it off and you'll put your pads on. Take it back out, same way it went back on. Just slide it down, slide it off, and bam. Alright, so now we're on the back, so we're going to push it in with the C-clamp since we don't actually need this special tool. You won't know that you need the special tool until you take your brake pads off. If you go up to an AutoZone or an O'Reilly's or something like that, they might be able to tell you. But in this case, it told me that we needed it and we didn't actually need it. So sometimes it may not be accurate. Push her all the way in. Back her out. Now, take your brake pads. So now we're going to put these brake pads on. You're going to pop them in the piston just like before. Make sure you get the opposite side, not with the same spring in it. Set them in, and then you're going to set them on the rotor. This one doesn't have the wear sensor like the front did, so there's no extra thing you have to take off the back pad or anything like that. Once you set it in, take the 2 bolts, plug them in. Alright, so you can do this. You go ahead and just roll it back here. Then that spring, step over here, put it back in. And then you have successfully changed front and rear pads. Bam.
Don't forget to put the tires back on.
Yeah, that's important.